This feels a lot weirder than when I'm doing it with myself. Because now I have you there watching me. Talking to that electronic device. So, anyways.
Is that some strong stuff?
Some strong tea. Wait. Game face. Check.
Check.
Take two. Audio check.
Audio check. Check.
You don't have to look at the camera. Feels weird with you in the shot. We should have it come in after I did a quick intro, like a surprise, because the two people that watch my videos, I used to see them by myself, and then like bring you in. It's like shocking. Anyways, so it's Awaf and I, and Barrett. I will show you a picture of Barrett later on. I needed to put something around the camera that I could focus myself looking at, and just looking at the camera lens itself was throwing me off completely. So now that Barrett is like around the camera, it's almost like I'm talking to somebody.
I think you should put a fox up there.
Yeah, I think we're gonna put an animal creator, something better than a complete stranger that I picked out of a magazine. So, anyways, no, we're not gonna talk about the game. You saw my post. If you saw my post, I love the game. 3 games in, and I already love it. Simple mechanisms. And the strategy element is there. It comes with different modules that you can add. For instance, you can upgrade your card, engine, suspension, tires, and stuff like that, and it will affect how the cards move. It has 4 different types of tracks, one in Italy, one in USA, France, and Great Britain, I think. You look at the other ones?
No.
Changes in the weather conditions, and all that. But anyways, besides the point, rambling as usual. Egg thief. Usually we get between 8 to 10 eggs a day, and that's from maybe a dozen to 15 hens, and that's not counting the 1 egg a day from a duck that we get. We noticed that some days we would get a handful of eggs, and some days we would get none. Coincidentally, it was when we were not home. For instance, when we're home, we get 8 to 10 eggs. 10 eggs. Some days we might get up to a dozen. But other days when we're not home, we don't get any, or only 1 or 2. So Wendy set up a couple of our cameras by their nesting boxes. We have 2 cages with 4 in one and 5 on the other one.
Mm-hmm.
So we have 4 nesting boxes in one cage, and then 5 nesting boxes on the other one. So Wendy put a couple of the cameras to see what the deal was. And lo and behold, we caught the freaking thief. And I'm gonna post not a photo, but a small clip of it. And it was kind of rainy that day, so there's some condensation on the lens, but you will be able to tell clearly what it was. Now, in the past, we had one incident where there was a king snake. Apparently, it was living in there in one of the cages because it was coiled up in the roof of the cage, And king snakes, they can get quite big, and they can need a lot of eggs in one sitting. And Wendy found it somehow. She just looked up and she saw it in there. Uh, she took a photo of it, and then we just moved it somewhere else. Some of the guys that know me and know my wife, we used to have snakes. We used to have a ton of snakes in the house, so we like snakes. So we don't kill them. We catch them, and we what's the word I'm looking for?
Catch and release.
We catch and release somewhere else. We also had another incident where there was a possum. We have some metal sheets of metal close to the chicken area, and we were having issues also with eggs being missing. It was not until one day we saw the dogs trying to move some of the sheets of metal, and they discovered there was a mama possum, quite a few babies. We tried to save as many of them as we could before the dogs got to some of the babies. I don't want to be too graphic. Um, but we were able to catch the mama and one or two of the babies, and we transfer them somewhere else.
We try to make sure they're not near anybody else's house.
Yeah, we don't
The
go
biggest wooded area.
Yeah, we don't have any close by neighbors, and we always go to like. Anyways, besides the point, we don't kill the animals. So, anyways, this was interesting because after scratching my head for a long time and trying to figure out what the egg thief, and I was about to tell Wendy the day before, and I didn't. I wish I would have, because I knew she was going to be like, you're that's far fetched or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, here's a clip. I'm going to stop talking. Here's a clip.
Crows?
Oh, crows. She was supposed to say something in regards to crows first. Yes, crows. Day before, I thought about telling Wendy, I think maybe the crows are coming down because I've seen them in the property. Not the chicken pen, the chicken area where the hens are. They're free range, but they get fed in an area and they go to bed at nighttime in an area within that area. So they're protected from predators for the most part, but like during the day, they go over the fence and they go throughout the property. But at the end of the day, they go back to their beds.
I was blaming the cats.
He was blaming the cats. Now our dogs, they like eggs. They'll love if they find eggs, but the dogs don't have access to that area because it's fenced in. And like I said, even though it's fenced in, the hens can still get out, but animals like dogs cannot go in there. But there are small areas that the cats can go through or over. It was not the cats. It was not the dogs. It was freaking crows. Um, the hen pen, like I was saying, is close to the house. But I've never seen the crows that close to the house. I've seen them in the goat area, which is about, I don't know, 50, 75 yards from the house. And I've seen them on the front pasture. I've seen them on the back pasture, but never this close to the house. And I felt like saying something to Wendy about it. But, because the eggs, crows are not that big. We're not talking about ravens. If you're familiar with the crows and ravens difference, ravens are actually one of my favorite birds. They have nothing to do with this, so I'm going to stop yapping about it. Crows. Anyways, I looked up online, and some places were saying if you have reflective items around that area, you don't want the crows to get into, to put up mirrors, reflective balls, reflective CDs, for instance, like all CDs or DVDs, anything reflective. The crows don't like that. Also, anything that'll make noise, and a few other things that I've read. So the simplest thing was to get some old CDs that we have and just hang them up. I'm actually put a photo here. No, it's gonna cover her. I might put a photo covering the whole thing here. How's that? Is that good? I'm gonna put just a photo of what they look like because they're just old CDs and they're just hanging outside
Yes,
of.
he checked to make sure he didn't put the kids' growing up CDs out there.
They're just blank CDs. So, anyways, so yeah, we went from, like I said, we were getting 8 to 10 eggs a day to maybe a dozen to one or two, and some days none. And the freaking crows. I mean, they were feasting. And like I said, I've only seen just one or two crows in the area, but I don't know if they're like going back and forth or not. But anyways, wife, would you like to say something?
I did.
She's not. All jokes aside, she's having not feeling the greatest this weekend. So I actually wanted to go riding, horseback riding, and for her to say, I'm not sure if I should or that she should, or maybe not. It takes a lot for Wendy to say no when it comes to horseback riding, even if we're not hauling somewhere the horses. So
I don't feel like going out there and end up in the middle of a ride saying, "Let me lay flat for an hour or two. You go back home and get the car."
yeah, that's one of her. We're rambling. We're gonna ramble, anyways. One of her medical conditions is called POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. Uh, I've explained it to quite a few people. It's a very simplistic way to explain it.
Which then affects intracranial hypertension, which when we have storms, which have been all around us off and on these last few weeks.
She gets she's back in 2019. Well, we might actually make a video about our journey at the Mayo Clinic. It's a research facility, and they have a few in the United States. One is in Houston, Texas. One is in Minnesota, Phoenix, Arizona, Jacksonville, Florida, and I'm missing one at least. Anyways, 2019 we went to the one in Jacksonville, Florida. We made 5 trips there for a total of 7 weeks at the facility, and it's when you're not having answers, um, you're going through your regular doctors to clinics and hospitals and everybody in the area, and you're not getting answers. Then you reach out to them, and they will have access to all of your medical records. By the time you get there with your first appointment, they will have a weekly schedule of your appointments. It is phenomenal. I mean, but anyways, she was. We were not getting answers here, and
We got a lot of answers there.
we got a ton of answers there. And
They did add fibromyalgia, which, just so you know,
so that's besides the point. That's going to be on a future video. So please stay tuned. You gotta keep them. I'm throwing the bait. The bait. It's just
the breadcrumbs.
yes. So yes, I'm gonna keep them in suspense.
Oh.
So, but yeah, we were 5 trips, 7 weeks total there, and nothing big can be cured, but at least we know how to manage it, and it provide a lot of answers that we needed badly. So that's how we learn to appreciate the good days. And when she's feeling good enough to ride, I'm like, if I cannot go, she needs to go with somebody. So because we don't know when she's going to be able to ride next. Anyways, completely off topic. I said I was not going to talk about the game, and I ended up talking about the game. You came to the video looking for an egg thief, and you're probably thinking that we caught somebody sneaking into our property to steal eggs. But
Well,
yeah.
we did find someone sneaking on the property and stealing eggs. It was just nature.
yeah. So anyways, hopefully the next video, Wendy, will be a little more upbeat. But like I said, it's been a rough weekend, a rough week. So changes in the weather affect you quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I will take a photo of Barrett Ewing on the camera. Like I said, I needed to focus on something, not just the lens. And hopefully I'll get used to this talking. And it's much weirder when I'm having somebody else in the shot with me. Because usually with the other videos, I'm by myself, walking around. But I kind of like it. Oh, by the way, we're big time now. We have iPads. Yes.
Wait a minute. No, we have Apple.
Apple. Well, I cannot draw a apple. So, same. Anyway, I'll stop here. We're going to hit me.